So this is the very end of February 2024. And from my side on the updates, I've been very busy talking to many of you, also to external partners. We have a deadline we're putting for the middle of March, a lot on the product side, but also on the marketing side. I think James has just joined on to help with tokenomics. He and I had a call. I'll let him give some updates, but I think all of us should put some deadlines for like a 2-week sprint. We have until the middle of March for a 2-week sprint. So I think any department you're in now, maybe you should think of some kind of nice deadline you'd like to set for your own goals for the project that you could deliver. You can speak to me about it. But we are also working hard on building a community, building to testing, engaging people, listening to people. I spoke to another seller about LoadPipe one-on-one today for about an hour. It's very blue ocean. Most traditional e-commerce merchants are not crypto native. They've had bad experiences with crypto, but we are going to prove them wrong that there is utility in crypto and in blockchain, and there's value in this ecosystem more than just pump and dump scams and day trading. So we are really excited about what we're building. But I would love to start to pass the floor. I think James just joined. Maybe the new people that haven't introduced themselves. The ones I would say are James and Garo.
Sure.
Yeah, James, you want to start?
Yeah, I can. I just got home, so forgive me. Yeah, my name is James Persak. I've known Bo, the CTO on the project, for quite some time, about a year. I had the good fortune of running into Mike a few months back, maybe like 2 months ago at this point. We got talking and brainstorming, and I thought the project was very cool. I expressed my interest in contributing in some way. And so, yeah, I've been onboarded for tokenomics as well as some other things. I'll be writing some of the documentation, including a light paper and a white paper, as well as doing some more bureaucratic BD stuff, like grant application process, just going through the rungs. And so I do have a lot on my plate. As far as the 2-week deadline goal goes, Mike and I did have a conversation recently. I think beyond what I'm immediately working on, my focus will be getting a light paper out the door, which is just a sort of abbreviated, more marketing piece white paper for the casual audience, very digestible, and then using that for the eventual white paper that we'll be making briefly as well. And I can share my screen. I'm working on some mad science. Greens. Yeah, green. Oh, I was watching Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm doing some predictive modeling, just kind of seeing how our tokenomics can work together. This is all pretty arcane, but after I go through this and fact check everything, I'm going to be dropping this in some of our public channels so people can sort of play with things, some of these variables for the tokenomics. So yeah, crunching numbers and trying to design something that the economics encourage good marketplace behavior across the board. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, James. Yeah, I'm really excited for your. I think Bo and I both had a chance to kind of look into it, and we're impressed with that, with this report, and I look forward to playing with it more as well. As it's obviously a core part of our project. So thank you for that. Garo, do you want to?
Oh,
Alex,
James, sorry, Mike. I'm
no,
just curious
please
to
go
see you
ahead,
again,
Alex.
and happy to have you on the team. I also just to blend the borders here. Why did you want to join LoadPipe? What got you excited about the project?
Well, first it was the people. I like Bo, and I took a liking to Mike, and anything that they're working on together, I'm like, oh, that's going to be successful. That'd be cool. And then also, I think it's a good learning experience for me. I'm not too familiar with e-commerce. I know tokenomics, and especially in the GameFi field. And so I wanted something different. And so I just thought it was really interesting. I think there's a huge opportunity for disrupting something that was maybe dystopian in some regards. And I vibe with that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great. Anybody want to also give a question to James? Okay. Well, thank you for that, James. You can keep video on if you like.
No, I'm going to join the anonymity crowd here.
Yeah, it is a little bit more comfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
Garo, actually, you two, Garo, we met from James. So, Garo, do you want to introduce yourself? I think it's your first
Hi,
time.
my name is Scotto. I joined LoadPipe. I think it's been 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
So I'm working on the front end of the e-commerce website. A lot of my time has been spent into learning how the Medusa framework works, creating a custom version of the website with.
Okay, we lost you, Gal.
Yeah, I
Or
stopped
am I the one
hearing.
not hearing
I
anything?
also stopped to hear.
Hello?
Now I hear you.
Are you
Gal.
back?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
now I can.
Sorry. So a lot of the time I've been spending has been figuring out what framework we're going to use, and then we decided to go with Medusa. So I've been just diving into that framework and overriding some features so that it works well with our requirements.
Great. Yeah, great. I mean, we're super excited
currently-
to see that. Oh, keep going. Sure.
Yeah, so currently a lot of the work has been actually the back end of Medusa, not really the UI. And so I guess the 2-week goal, in the 2-week goal, it would be to get the front end to look great.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's great. I think you guys should get to know Luciano a bit more. I just had a great call with him. And I know Jose's curious to see the screens or see it. Even I haven't seen so much, but whenever you're ready to get some feedback, I think we're more than happy to give it.
Yep. So you mean for me to have a feedback about the screens, right?
I'm just kind of trying to integrate. I don't think you or Garo have connected, so Luciano.
Yeah, cool. That'd be great. We can make a one-on-one that if he's available for that. I'm okay.
Sure. Yeah, so Luciano's on our team and core team as the branding and UX. He's our artist too. He's very talented. Helps a lot of our branding and design that you'll see. And he's been interested to talk to you about the screens and the branding.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, my experience is mostly focused on UI, UX, and design and brand strategy. So of course I've been involved in the e-commerce industry very deeply in the last 7 years. And I work for a bunch of companies. I work inside Amazon for a lot of times. I build a lot of brands. So I work for several startups, SaaS products. So I think I have a wide experience to add value on the project. That is that makes sense. Yeah.
Luciano, are you still in Bangkok?
I'm in Shenzhen now.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Never mind. I was gonna say I'll be in Bangkok this weekend, so we could have a design session. But we should absolutely set one up.
Yeah.
Within the next week.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm always online. Just text me and we can set up online. It's fine. I'll be in Bangkok again next month. So if anyone is there, we can meet as well.
Great. Maybe we move to depart. Those are the 2 new people. I hope I'm not missing anyone. I guess Luciano kind of did a little intro, but he's been with us since the beginning.
Is David properly introduced?
Oh, excuse me. Yes, he's new too. Yeah, I've been talking to you so much, David. I feel like you've been here forever. But yeah, David or David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is David. I live in Andorra in Europe, and I'm in charge of the finance department, let's say. Okay, so our relationship might not be direct all the time, just bothering you for invoices and that everything is compliant, but there is a background work aside that reflects the financial impact of all of our actions, right? And I will be helping also Mike to figure out the finance situation of the company for the next months, right? And see what we need to do in order to keep the company alive from a finance perspective.
Yep, it's a very important role and very much appreciated. All right. Yeah, Andorra. So we actually have quite a few Spanish-speaking people here, I feel, right? And all throughout the world. It's been Oh, Andres isn't with us
I feel we have a representation of almost all
Oh
continents.
yeah, actually, the whole world. Actually, yeah. It's really great.
So I think we should change the official language of this to Spanish. We just all start speaking Spanish.
Oh,
Hola.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Hola.
The time zone has got to be an issue.
All right. Well, so let's move to the department updates. So we're going to just try to go through the major departments. Maybe, of course, at least some top of mind is Bo is the product, and of course John and the product side first, and then we'll move to Alex. How do we choose the order? But I feel like product would be a great one to open with Bo.
yeah. I think that would be helpful. I think everybody's really excited about product.
Okay. Maybe Bo, and then John also has some points on his side, in the product side too.
Right. Yeah, so there's been a lot of developments and a lot of movement since the last time that we met. In terms of, so last time we met, I believe it was before we had launched the WordPress site. And so WordPress site is up, people have engaged with it. That took obviously a little bit of time. And now we've started working on building out the React site. As Garo sort of alluded to, we're using a framework called Medusa, which is neither built for multi-vendor support or crypto support. So a lot of the work that we've done up to this point has been just extending the functionality of an already sort of like really interwoven, interconnected system to support multiple vendors signing up, to support them uploading their own products, and then also to just support things like logging in with their Web3 wallet instead of using username and password. And so a lot of that configuration, it flows out into a lot of different places because there's a lot of different services that are defined throughout the entirety of the system. And once we get these like sort of core backend pieces flowing, once we build out like some necessary API routes, get the services working, then we can start building the front end with quite a bit of ease because the components will already be there, and it's just a matter of like putting things where they belong. And so we do need to start a conversation with Luciano and building out some Figma models so that we can start sketching out what that would look like in React and CSS.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like early next week would probably be the ideal time, Monday, Tuesday, because like I think that's just the first time that I have any availability from here until then. Because you guys don't know, I'm going to Bangkok on Friday and flying to Copenhagen on Monday. So the other thing there's a couple of other things that we've been working on, and I know John was going to talk about this a little bit, but I'll go ahead and everybody here should already sort of know, but if you don't, we've started talking to a very core Ethereum developer, like original core Ethereum developer, who is developing an e-commerce protocol in parallel. And what's nice about that is, like, I think when all of us first heard that, we were all like a little bit scared, like, oh shit, someone's going to beat us to the punch. But what was really nice about it is he's building a very limited, like, primitive protocol, which looks a lot more like TCP/IP, which is a way for storing specifically product and vendor data. And we can sort of exist on top of that layer, which is why it's nice that we ended up building from the direction that we built from. He built from the the sort of like nitty gritty technical protocol layer, and we built from this like front end social layer, right? So a lot of what we've been doing has been theorizing about token distributions and tokenomics, as well as like DAO functionality and dispute resolution, because those are the things that we really need to be able to know in order to be able to guide their work in building their protocol system. So if you look at the Figma, I mean, I know a lot of you already have, but if you look at the like tokenomic design Figma, you see that it's built out with a lot of different models, architectural designs, both in terms of like DAO summoning, like just the logic of DAO summoning, defining some of the smart contracts that we're going to need for tokenomics, defining a system architecture and our like sort of V1 and V2, and that like, what does our system look like in March? And what does our system look like in May? And then what does our system look like when we start integrating with a more primitive protocol? So that's a lot of the work that's been done there. That partnership has led us to doing a lot of work on these sort of more long-term architectural questions to do with the way the DAO and the token will be structured. Looking forward, We are, I would say, a little bit behind schedule when it comes to the March deadline in terms of, what will we have done in 2 weeks, or what do we hope to have done in 2 weeks? I think that we'll have all of the necessary plumbing done, and we should have some very simple screens, right? So we should be able to, someone should be able to log in. They should be able to ask to be a vendor. We should be able to upgrade them to a vendor. We should be able to add a product. And then a customer should be able to come in and just search for products, add them to their cart, and we should be able to create an order from that while paying in crypto. Ideally, that bleeds a little bit into the work that John has been doing. So I'll let him sort of fill you in on what's been going on with the switch, but that's sort of the way that we're handling payments. And then, I think that we have a hackathon coming up from the 14th to the 17th, which is why we sort of set this artificial crazy March deadline. And so we should have enough to build there something which we might be able to win hackathon prizes with, build some partnerships, and build up something interesting, as well as meet in person with the team that's working on that protocol. But other than that, I mean, that's the product development update. I think I covered everything that we've been working on.
Awesome. Great.
There's a question. Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I was just asking. I hadn't heard about the hackathon. Maybe just Discord disconnect. But is that here in Chiang Mai? Is that in Bangkok? Is that?
No, it's in London.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm going to Copenhagen, and then I'm going to ETH Pragma on the 13th, and then ETH London is a hackathon from the 13th to the 17th, and so I'll be there in London.
And okay, that makes sense. I thought there was just a London trip. Okay, thank you.
I
both.
think I have to go. I mean, I was gonna look at my schedule, but I think it would be great to. I think I have to go now somehow, even if I just tailgate, like I said. But I think I have to go.
Well,
What will you guys enter for the hackathon?
Bo's already all set. He's signed up and confirmed, but I'm not. But I think even if I'm hanging out outside, I should go. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
What will be entered for the hackathon, though? Like what software?
Well, I mean, we don't know yet. I mean, it'll probably be something you, me, and Garo build on top of the Hamza site. Some functionality. I'm trying to it's going to be kind of against the rules to enter whatever it is that we're working on. But my philosophy on it is okay, well, we'll have this kind of like Zeppelin, right? We had been working on it, or at least thinking about it for some time. You had some smart contract written, but then as soon as the hackathon started, we looked at what the bounties were and what technologies made sense to integrate with. And so I think we just approach it with the same philosophy. We look at what the bounties are, we look at what technologies are possible to integrate with, what things make sense for us, and then we just try and build a feature in a weekend on top of Hamza.
So is that clear, James?
We have another question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Question from Jose. Can you expand on what the switch is?
I think that goes into John.
So I will.
Yeah, pass that to John. Right. Oh.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, that was perfect.
So, there's been it's been a long time since we've had a town hall, I feel like. I don't even remember where we were.
It might have been the end of December. I think it's been maybe December, if I recall.
Yeah. So the thing I've been working on most immediately is the switch, the payment switch, we call it. It does the job of, all right, so the next iteration of Hamza, which will be a React app, which Bo and Garo are working on. Payments will flow into a smart contract that will act as kind of a switching hub. Basically, it'll act as both an escrow and kind of like a way of paying everyone out and taking a cut for Hamza and interacting with a DAO contract, a Moloch DAO. And so it will have basically these jobs. It'll be kind of like the main money pipeline from the next iteration of Hamza. So even though it might not survive that iteration, as we integrate with Martin's protocol, the OG Ethereum guy, his protocol, which we're all real excited about, the switch may change, or it may just go away entirely, but for this iteration, it's really important. So I've been spending a lot of time, now it's feature complete. I've been spending a lot of time testing it, and there's still a lot to do on that. Does that kind of explain what it was, though? I mean, does that answer your question about what it does?
Jose,
Okay.
is it in type or are you typing or are you voice?
Yes, it does, John. I was trying to type, but I prefer to speak. My second question related to that would be: is there anything in the works for supporting Bitcoin Lightning payments, and is working with the ERC token like LoadPipe a hindrance towards that goal within the framework of the switch that you speak of?
We have not planned that in to this iteration. I think that's not in the question for this iteration, but it's not completely out of the question. It's a little bit difficult, but it's something that I know you've mentioned before, and I've said that I would give it some thought, and we can all discuss it. And it would definitely be a great thing to support Bitcoin. We need to think about how we would integrate that.
Just to
So
be
in the immediate future, probably not, but in the future, it's definitely a good thing to be considered.
just to be clear for Jose and everyone, the load token is not involved on the buy side of the transaction. We're not going to try to force people to buy and use the load token to buy on any marketplace. It's more of a behind the scenes in the governance and in the judges. It's not going to be required for buying something on the marketplace. So
Definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, that's it.
Definitely, Bitcoin payments can be included in the system, but we need to think about how to engineer that. I think right now we have enough on our plate as far as like thinking how to engineer things that we don't really have bandwidth to think about that for right now. But I think that it's something we'll come back to for sure. Definitely something we'll come back to.
Look, I know we want to support Bitcoin as much as possible, but to, I think that second part of your question of does the like DAO and token hinder the integration with Bitcoin? I mean, like we can use a wrapped version of Bitcoin, but all of these systems are going to be built in EVM compatible ways and deployed to specific chains in the Ethereum ecosystem, at least at the beginning. And I don't know of of a system or a product that does like complex DAO logic in a Bitcoin ecosystem. I mean, like unless we're talking about Stacks, right? And Stacks is not like an EVM compatible or equivalent network. And so, like, I mean, in terms of like, would we like to do Bitcoin? Yeah, if at all possible. Yeah.
And the other
what we're building doesn't actively exclude the possibility of somehow connecting to Bitcoin, but what form that will take will definitely, that'll be a heavy lift as far as engineering. So I think we'll come back around to it.
There's a very lot much to it, and the short answer is the very core is there's no stable coin that I'm aware of in the Bitcoin network. And if you speak to any seller that I've been speaking to, they're not willing to receive Bitcoin natively to sell their Amazon merchant product. As much as they like Bitcoin, they're too scared. It's up 10% yesterday, but what if it's down 20% tomorrow? They want fiat or stable coin. That, I believe, from the purse's side was also a big request, was stablecoin, which is not, as far as I'm aware of, supported in a Bitcoin stack.
The stable coins were a very big request on Purse that was never fulfilled.
Because it's not possible.
Users in general, I think they were very keen on Bitcoin, nevertheless. And I remember when we ended up supporting Bitcoin Lightning networks, that was a very welcome thing in the community.
So I don't know if you ever checked out, it's a long one, it's an 1.5-hour video that Bo put into Figma about Moloch DAO. And then there's a lot to it, but Ethereum is more about governance and I forget, communications. And I think the superior part of Ethereum is this whole DAO. That's the core of Ethereum, is DAOs and governance. And I think that's the core of this ecosystem, is DAO and governance and dispute resolution in a decentralized way. But I think we're getting too much into the weeds. This is meant to be just a high-level update. But we all love Bitcoin. We appreciate Bitcoin. We are enjoying the benefits of the price appreciation. and we're trying our best to find a way to integrate it.
Well, and I would just add on that, and to Mike's point, like if you want to do permissionless payments, yeah, Bitcoin's great. If you want to build a permissionless company, Bitcoin can't do that, but Ethereum can, and that's what we're building.
Yes, I understand all that about the governance and the necessity for a governance token, and that's not related to any payment system. But have you guys considered the possibility of setting up a sort of a decentralized exchange, like say from Bitcoin Lightning to a stablecoin, as something on the side of the Hamsa marketplace, so that people with Bitcoin can exchange for USDT or any stablecoin and make purchases with Hamsa?
That exists. That's Shapeshift and their MetaMask Snap that they've recently developed. And so, yeah, I mean, that system exists. If people want to swap Bitcoin for stablecoins and then interact with Hamsa, they can. And they can do it in a permissionless, decentralized way. And so, yeah, I mean, I in that sense, yeah, we could absolutely support Bitcoin payments, but then we're talking about, yeah, someone's bridging into an EVM environment. And so is it really Bitcoin payments? I would say no, but they have to use a trustless bridge first. So that's possible. But again, then we're not doing native Bitcoin transactions or Lightning transactions.
Yep, I think we should move on. I mean,
Shapeshift support Bitcoin Lightning, or is it just Bitcoin blockchain on-chain transactions?
I think it's native, but you'd have to look. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, if we want to dive more into this, and we probably can at another time. But yeah, I mean, that's I think that. But yeah, I would say look into it. I'm pretty sure it's native Bitcoin though.
Okay. But no, I know.
I know. We should move on.
Yeah, I think we have to move on. I mean, nobody here is anti-Bitcoin. I mean, and I follow it closely. As the technology is expanding on it, and hopefully we can bridge into it. But we can't wait for it, and we can't. We're not going to be able to build what we can do with Ethereum on there.
Let's take note of it, because I think there's a lot of these sideways that becomes quite important when it comes to integrating the most community with.
I think even using Martin's protocol is an off-chain thing, and I think there might be ways to integrate more easily with that too. But I think we leave it at this. But we are always keeping an eye out for Bitcoin, and we're appreciative of Bitcoin. Maybe we move to finance, corporate.
We'll keep it in our minds as well.
Oh,
what's that?
You finished your part, right? Let's do 15 more minutes just to really keep it at the 1 hour. But maybe David can give us some updates on finance. I could kind of talk about some parts with legal from Andres. David, do you want to give us an update?
Yes. Okay, so lately we have been working on setting things in place mainly. That means the creation of an SOP for payable invoices, which are at the moment mainly your invoices, guys, for your services. We are trying to standardize that in order to resolve doubts about how to issue the invoice, and also to standardize and simplify the work on the finance department side. In the upcoming months, we are willing to create new SOPs for the processes we think need to be standardized. At the moment, it will be more on the finance side. Maybe later, if Bo and Mike wants, we can extend that also to other departments if they have process that can be standardized. And it is really important to follow the rules of the SOP in order to have all the information. For example, that you never forget your wallet code in your invoice, so the payment can be done with the right wallet. It's also important that you issue your invoices on time, so you get paid on time, right? Because the payment part, it's a little bit time consuming, right? It needs the validation of 3 persons, so it needs to be coordinated in order to be done smoothly, all right? And on the other side, we are working in grading an Excel control sheet that we have for payments. I cannot show it to you because we are still discussing about confidentiality and what can be shown and what cannot be shown in terms of finance, right? This is something that we need to discuss with the upper level of the company. right? And anything that can be disclosed will be disclosed, and what needs to remain confidential, it will be. For example, my home address should remain always confidential, right? Maybe the service I provide to the company should not be confidential, right? We need to discuss this in further detail. Next steps, and the more important, which I mentioned before, it's forecasting the financial side of the company, right? In order to see what are the capital needs that we have, how autonomous can we be, and for how long, right? And that will also help us to define a price strategy in the future for the service, if we want to charge any fee or any kind, or receive any kind of compensation for the services that the company provides to the sellers, or even to the customers if necessary. That's basically it.
Yeah, Bitcoin just hit 60,000 during this call. Actually, it's crazy. I just checked. So on the legal side, Andres can't make it today. So the foundation is taking much longer than I thought. So I think something about Hamza Labs Limited. That's the operating entity in Panama that was set up first. And we're setting up a LoadPipe foundation that is second, but is actually going to be the holdings. Again, like David said, I don't think there's meant to be secrets, but it's also I don't know exactly what to share and how. But the point is, we're doing that for operating and holding separates. I think some of you maybe understand that. And also, we are issuing a token. James is working on a light paper and tokenomics, of course. So we're using that structure for that on the foundation side. So hopefully this week or next week, Carnival slowed it down in Panama, and there was lots and lots of paperwork. It's very very complex, as you can imagine, but we want everything set up correctly for all the things we're doing. So that's an update on the legal. On the marketing and community side, Don's not here. We're still confirming his latest proposal, but he's working on the vendor side. He's decided he wants to focus on the vendor side. This is a two-sided marketplace, right? There's vendors and there's buyers. The vendors are more traditional, at least our assumption is, we're still defining them, is more traditional like Amazon or Web2 merchants. So he's working on a campaign called Empower the Seller. You can look it up on empowertheseller.com. It's just a quick lander, very basic right now, but the point is he's using humor, and he wants to make rap videos that would make the merchants resonate with the messaging of the hardships of selling on, say, Amazon or Web2, and how maybe what they might not realize the benefits of selling on Web3 would be. These are some of the benefits in that kind of messaging. And it'll be over the next 1 to 2 months deliverable. Also tomorrow, I know Bo's so busy, but if you're in Chiang Mai and you want to hang out, we're doing an e-commerce meetup with Amazon Global Selling, 3 to 5 p.m. I'll be hosting that. And then we have a dinner with Payoneer and FedEx, 6 to 9 p.m. here in Chiang Mai. It's a bit awkward. I'm friends with a lot of people at Amazon in Thailand. Always open to anybody's suggestions on how to manage that. But I always say if they confront me about it, they could join the protocol and list the marketplace on LoadPipe. We welcome them. It is permissionless as well. So also as Bo said, there's East London where he will be, and I feel like I should be. But at the same time, there's HandyCon. Anne's here. The Handshake community we're also very instrumental in organizing this. It'll be the 4th annual online conference for Handshake, which is a decentralized domain solution on proof of work. That'll be also March 13th to the 15th online, and happening about the same time as ETH London. But we'll also have sessions and promotions for LoadPipe there. And of course, people in decentralized domains and web would also be interested in decentralized e-commerce. But just the theme, I've been talking a lot of sellers. We sell on Amazon, one of our companies, and it's not as profitable as it used to be. I just think our case of the Emperor, they're just squeezing everybody for money. I talked to a 3PL company we used this morning. and he's saying that they're really squeezing everybody. A lot of his clients are just getting squeezed. Amazon just keeps increasing the fees or adding new fees or changing the fee structure. Nobody really knows, and they keep just seeming to take more and more of the money. So it's becoming more of a problem. So I guess that's making our solution even more attractive. And those are some of my quicker updates. Again, we're also...
There's a question, Mike.
Oh, sure. Just my last point is I'm also talking to a lot of you about proposals and working. We are being pretty conservative. I know a lot of us have adjusted our rates and our ways we work with us. We're just trying to be conservative. We don't want to burn our money too quickly. So I just want to say that to everybody. And so appreciate everybody's flexibility on that. But yeah, I had a question? Sure.
What's the Amazon fee rate at this point?
Well, they never give you a flat rate. Maybe David knows it better than I do in the finance. But they keep making new kinds of fees about storage fees and under storage and over storage and returns, and they increase the rates on this and that. David, would you back a hand about how much Amazon's taking now?
It depends on as you're mentioning, it depends on your situation regarding your stock. For example, if you are overstocked, if your stock has been sitting for more than 1 year, you have the inbound fees, you have the anything that can be done with inventory has a specific fee that will depend on your activity, right? And then they take a percentage of your fees right now, which I don't recall the exact.
I mean, I generally say back in hand, it's about half, right? I mean, generally it's about half.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they get like 55% of your revenue in fees. If you do FBA.
So, David, something I think you and I should do is, because you're working on the finance side for the organization, I think both LoadPipe and Hamza, and we should have some sort of ballpark figure for like what our operational costs are, and then we should use that as a sort of baseline for whatever transaction fee we charge on the tokenomic level, the protocol level for LoadPipe. Definitely want to talk to you about that so we can be well informed. Otherwise, we're just picking numbers out of a hat. We should be able to justify it in some way based on operations. So,
yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Yes, we're almost at the hour mark. I mean, 5 minutes. If there's I know not everybody shared today. If that's not intentional, we're just trying to kind of pick major departments. But if those that didn't share want to share, or if there's questions.
Yeah, perhaps we can open I'd be curious to ask if anyone would like to ask for anything from the company. Are we looking for people like references to a new developer? Are we looking for sparing on specific things? It's really an open table discussion, right? But what are people like to ask for in the interim between now and the next town hall?
We are on the lookout for new developers, by the way. There's obviously a pretty huge dev lift that's going to have to go into a lot of the different components. And I've been in contact with a couple of different developers, setting up some introductory meetings in the near future, which I'll then obviously we'll have more panel interviews at that point. But yeah, we definitely need more help.
Agreed.
Awesome. I'd love to plant a seed as well. And I think I'll plant the seed partially in David as you go about company expenses, but also James as you do the tokenomics. We need to find dovetails into fundraising, because I think we have to be open-minded that this should happen on at least a 6-month schedule now, just given the estimated burn rate and touching grass here, but there's never enough money in these things, right? So we have to find outside capital.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not the guy for the total fundraising lead. I think that's a job for the CEO in that regard, and I think that's going to happen naturally. That said, my second priority after the light paper is specifically the grants application process. I think that makes the most sense. That's the email I sent you today, Mike, about the contract. It's essentially free money, and that one grant can be enough for an extra developer. That's the immediate need, or it could be for marketing or something else. So right up there.
Yeah. Also, we for the financial needs of the company, we need to decide. Well, we need to build a framework, a frame time, right, in order to know when is the company starting to get income from the marketplace. If that will be in 2 years, the money will not be enough, right? If the company will start making money through fees in 3 months, then the calculations can be done differently, right? So the decisions on the operation levels will affect also the needs of the company in regards of funds, and maybe also for the runs of investors if we're gonna do it.
And I'm not the best person to say, but I know there's LoadPipe Hamza is so confusing, but technically I think we're working for Hamza as an operating company, as a marketplace, as our team. The foundation is more the token, and it's more like a non-profit, non-operating entity. And maybe I open your feedback, but I think that's how we're structuring it.
So the
Yes,
egg before the chicken.
Yeah, as far as I understood, the money will flow from the foundation to Hamza, right, in order to make development and all the stuff, right? So we need to figure out how Hamza will operate in order to require the funds from the foundation.
Thank you. That's super good. We are 20 seconds away.
Great. Well, I hope.
Any final words, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's super. Like I said, I think I think most of us, or at least I hope so, I'm more excited than before. Like, we had a talk with Martin yesterday again. I know a lot of you maybe don't know who this person is, and we've referenced his name a few times, but he's excited as us. I mean, there's so much to build. We basically got to rebuild e-commerce on the blockchain. All these products that Amazon, unless Jeff Bezos said on Lex Friedman, they create a lot of fundamental infrastructure for e-commerce when they made Amazon. And I think the same has to happen here. But the core difference is it's in an open environment, not a closed environment. In Web3, we can't stop someone else from building a Zeppelin or an affiliate platform on top of what we're building. We can't stop somebody from building a Bitcoin payment solution for Jose on top of Hamza, right? We don't have to be the ones to build that in our internal team. So this is the core difference, and what I like about it is called permissionless and open. People can build on this protocol as they see, and that's so exciting. There's going to be so much that needs to be built. It's more than we can do as a core team. So we should just keep that in mind, and I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you in Discord and around.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Good night.
See you guys
Thanks, y'all. Thank you, everyone.